Okay, this is my ninth time to try to record this. I know what they call people that keep doing the same thing with the same results, but I'm trying again. This is my narrated PowerPoint on the leadership assessment paper. It's due 30 points, and as I had said, you want to start this by midway through the summer term, which is just about where we are. So for this assignment, you're going to essentially replicate what you did in the Nursing 511 class. You're going to complete several leadership assessment tools. Um, and that's Appendix G in your syllabus. You're going to do one on yourself. You're going to ask your current manager preferably to do one on you. If you don't have a manager or supervisor, say you're not working, you could consider your preceptor doing it, but I really prefer somebody in your workplace. Next, if you have a subordinate, if you supervise somebody else, or maybe you work with nursing assistants, ask them to do one on you, or perhaps a coworker. Last choice is a friend. If you do have to ask a friend, be sure to ask somebody who will be honest. In the fall, you did have one more. You did one yourself on a manager, but we're not going to have you do that this time. Okay, then after that, you're going to write an analysis of at least 5 pages comparing the current assessments with the ones you did in 511. And the only thing is I want this to be more of a comprehensive summative paper and showing that you've learned the different concepts you've learned in the program. So this is going to be a little bit, if not bigger, a little bit fuller, I guess. Also, I want you to use and include the data assessment tool form. The one that was in the first syllabus was incorrect. I've reloaded the syllabus. I've emailed you the corrected form, and I've posted one online, so you should be able to find the correct one. You're going to use that to look at your strengths and weaknesses as compared with your peer or subordinate and your manager or supervisor. If you have one in fall, terrific. You're going to get a really good picture. Besides that, you're to include a description of and reflection and analysis of your results of your leadership. That should be assessment tool, comparing it to the first one. Include your thoughts on your leadership development over the past year using examples and support of how you've developed. Include how your ideas on leadership have changed. And I asked you to include a leadership theory in that paper. I want you to do that again. Hopefully it's going to be a little fuller. If you use the same theory, do a little bit more, maybe how it's changed or developed. And again, use examples of support. Discuss the 3 goals you set for yourself in 511 and how you did or didn't meet them. Again, examples or support, and then how you're going to be a lifelong learner. Reflect on how you might continue to grow as a leader. Are you going to join organizations? You plan to go to conferences? It doesn't mean what formal education are you going to seek, or maybe even what positions. Just some ideas on which directions you might want to go and how you're going to support. You're going to develop yourself when you do that. Okay, this is the rubric, and on the left are the criteria. Just a couple things I wanted to show you. 8 points for the describing results from the leadership assessment. Those are the big points. And if you look under the A criteria, I know everybody aims for that. You want to be sure that you have good analysis and understanding of your leadership development. So you want to really be sure you've looked at the scores, and I want to see them discussed. I want to see, if you can, to have actual scores, points. Show me the areas in which you've scored the most and which maybe you scored the lowest. So make this a really thoughtful analysis if you want to get full points. Then in your development ideas on leadership, the next one down, again, you can use the same leadership theory, or you can, if you've decided there's a better one, use that, and then talk about how it's developed or how you've observed it over the last year. The next area is your 3 goals from the Nursing 511 paper. And the best thing to do is to have examples and support using quotes from your own journals. What journals do you say? Well, remember in 515A we had you talk about the goals with each journal. So if you did that, hopefully you have some quotes about what you were doing. The next one is a plan for lifelong learning. Notice that the A criteria, you have at least 2 ideas. And again, it doesn't have to be formal education, but how are you going to continue to develop? Where are you going to seek education? And of course, I'm sure your format is going to be perfect because you know APA and how to write now. And next, Okay, this is a leadership assessment tool data form. And this is the one that I told you had changed. In the first syllabus, I had peer and subordinate as separate columns, which doesn't make sense. One column has to be self, and it's to be a peer or a subordinate, preferably a subordinate. And then you're going to put how each one scored you, and you're going to compare between leader, peer, etc. You can't really compare the categories because they don't have the same number in each. Down at the bottom, when it said overall total score, I mean total from each participant who rated you as well as your own self score, and then you can kind of do a comparison of the total score. You don't have to add all three scores up. So those are the things that we're looking at, and that's it for today. So I hope if I can end it, maybe this time will be a charm.